Recording in progress. The declaration is this meeting is being virtually streamed and it will be available. If you're not happy to be recorded, please leave the meeting now. Okay. And over to you, Anwen. Elwyn. Welcome to you all here. I hope you've had a good summer break despite the weather. Any apologies? Anwen? Kim Jones, Eva Glyn Lloyd, Sarah Hatzel, and Nobby Thompson. I can't see John Pugh. He hasn't apologised, no.
Councillor John
Pugh has got in touch with me and he's apologised to say that he sent his apologies to say he can't be present. Thank you.
Okay.
And declarations of interest? If not, we'll move on to the minutes. I'd like to propose that they're correct. Would anyone like to second this? If you can please show. It's been seconded here. Thank you. Does any matters arising from the minutes? I've got an update on the enforcement orders on page 6, item 9.1. Just a quick update about the cases raised in the previous meeting. The first one, number 4, Rhywlas Villas in Trefryw. This was regarding the untidy state of the land. They've deemed that it is not a suitable application to look at, and it has been closed. The next one, Brynawel and Aberdyfi. Jane, I know that Jane has getting in touch with the owners to see if this was continuing, but John and myself have looked and we can't see that the buildings are being advertised anymore. And since Jane has been off sick, I'm not sure if he did manage to get in touch, but if Jane isn't back in the coming weeks, I will get in touch myself just to confirm this. But I don't think that they are being advertised as a holiday accommodation. Land at Hengor Llanelltid, again, unfortunately, because Jane was away, we found it difficult to get in touch, to find the details on the update on the application. But from my understanding, the case has been closed on the system since 2019, and it has been passed on. So we'll have to have a word with Jane and hope to get a further update on that. And 13, Garreg Frech, Llanfrothan. The officers have been out there recently to look at the state of the site. It's still in an untidy condition. and another site is overgrown. But again, it isn't bad enough to take any to continue with this. So this will also be closed. Cefn Meirch, again, this Jane and David have been out to the site to meet the owner. The complaint here was that it was being converted into a residential occupancy. And there's a mixture of domestic and agriculture use here. And they stored static caravans here. So obviously, this has been going on for over 10 years. So it isn't possible to take any further steps on this. There have also been complaints that the static caravan has been used by the owner for overnight stays quite a few times. I haven't had any further complaints since the officers visited the site. So we're quite keen to close this case as long as the owner is aware that he shouldn't stay in the static caravan, and it will be reopened if there are any further complaints. Tîn Gwyn Llangorel. Unfortunately, I don't have the details haven't been saved electronically, and this is Jane's case. So I have found it difficult to get in touch to find any further details. But hopefully I'll be able to get some further details by the next meeting. Thank you, Iona. I'm sure we'd all like to agree to send our best wishes to Jane. She's been off for quite a while now. Does everybody agree with that? We'll send our best regards to her. A report from the Director of Planning. So, which is planning applications. Hello. Kaiwat, Talabont. The 3 applications. Aled has 3 applications as well. Pass it over to Aled. Thank you, Aled. Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is an application to build affordable housing for local needs. 1 bungalow, 1 2-story house. The site is on the beach road outside Talabont. This plan shows the border, the development in the black line, and this shows that this site is 80 meters outside the development area. Having said that, the site is between 2 houses. This is the empty space between 2 houses. They need to build a new entrance through here. And as you can see from these pictures, there are 2 houses either side. And this is the site where the proposed house would be built. So this shows the bungalow at the far end and the house opposite and the present buildings. This is acceptable design, and it fits in with a number of other buildings in the area, and we felt that it was an acceptable design and wouldn't have an effect on the land, and in the same manner the bungalow as well. Policy considerations is 1, 6, and 11 and 30. Specifically, the policy 11 allows a small number of new dwellings for affordable local needs on sites outside the meeting housing development boundary, provided the proposal conforms with all other requirements. In this policy, I'm sure there's an exception which allows local affordable housing where such a need cannot be provided within the housing development boundary. As I've already said, the site is 80 meters from the housing development boundary, and therefore it goes against this policy. But because of the characteristics of the site, we feel that it fits in and it is reasonable and doesn't have an effect on the character of this part of Talabont. And to cite 2 houses on this site. And the policy has provided information saying that there is need for this housing. It's not it fits in with the present lands, the sizes. It's acceptable. There's no adverse effects on the integrity of the designated sites. We haven't received any objections. So on behalf, there haven't been any objections from the community council. So in this case, we feel that even though it's outside the housing development boundary, it can be incorporated into the site between two houses without having a negative effect on the character of this area of Tailban. So we recommend that we should grant permission and subject to the applicant entering into the 106 agreement so that we can ensure that the houses are affordable and continue to be affordable. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Aled. Oh, there is a speaker. Ed Bailey wants to speak.
Mr. Bailey,
Mr. Bailey, you have 3 minutes. The application, Dai Thomas is a local business owner who has contributed to his local community in Eryri throughout the years. Dai has a wide range of business interests. He bought a small piece of land in Taliban for years when he saw it would be possible to build a house there. Dai has a growing family and is extremely aware of the need to erect more housing for young people and families in this area. Conversation with the local young man triggered the original planning application in November 2020. This young man wanted to buy a house locally to live close to his family, but there was nothing affordable available. I agreed to try for a planning for a family residential home in order to allow this young man and his family to establish a house in the area. Planning application was for an open market was refused in 2020, and I contacted Baileys and Partners to see if planning permission would be restricted to local affordable housing would be possible. Bailey sought input from Housing Association Tai Teg, Gwynedd Housing Department, and the Eryri National Park Authority. We worked with different partners who gathered information about the local needs, who were responsible for collecting information about the need for local housing in order to provide evidence needed for an application. I consulted with neighbours, local community councils, and county councillors who were supportive of the proposal for affordable housing in a place which was reasonable and made sense to develop. Following the redaction of further planning application in 2022, and the feedback that followed from the pre-application 2023, we are pleased to have submitted a planning proposal for 2 dwellings that is supported by the planning officer, as well as receiving ongoing support from the local community council and the county councillor. The case for the housing needs highlighted in the officer's report shows that 99 applicants are on the social housing register and 13 applicants on the intermediate housing register, and they show that the level of demand in different Talabans. Only 1 planning permission has been granted in the last 10 years in Talabans, and it shows a disconnect between the need and what is supplied. If granted, this planning application will be further contribution to the significant local demand for housing that is being experienced in Dyffryn Adydwy and Talaban. Thank you for your time in considering the significant planning application. Thank you, Mr. Bailey. Would anyone like to propose anything? Or does anybody have any comments? Edgar has his hand up here. I propose that we accept the recommendation. Anyone like to second that? Anwen and Meryl have their hands up here. Would anyone like to speak? Joe has a hand up. Okay, Joe.
Diolch. Just two points.
Just 2 points.
There's in the responses from Gwynedd County Council, there's no reference to a housing association in the application. Is there definitely one signed up to go along with this application? And that's my first point for now.
Iawn, diolch yn fawr. Jonathan?
Mr. Cadeirydd, mae'r ymgeisydd...
I think that the applicant has been in touch with the housing association and received numbers from the facilitation officer, housing facilitation officer in Gwynedd Council to show the need for local housing. Joe, do you want to come back on that?
No, that covers that one. There's just one more point. There is an objection about exceeding the building line in front of the neighbouring line. Are we happy with this?
Ie, does, da ni wedi styried hynny.
As we have considered that, as we've considered the application, we don't think that it has an effect due to the nature and the character of this area. There are some large houses and small houses, and this fits in, really. It doesn't go any further than the houses that are on either side of it at the moment, as it shows on the site plan. Thank you, Joe.
Okay. Elfed?
I'd just like to support the application. 2 local houses between the houses, and it's not out in open land. It's sited perfectly. Okay, we've lost the connection there, Elfed. Right, we'll go to a vote now. Everyone, those in favour, to press the green tick or raise your hand. I can't see everybody's hand. It's carried. That's it, great. It has been carried. Has been approved. We move on to the second one. Land near Pentrechaf in Dyffryn y Dydwy. Aled again, is it?
Diolch, Mr. Cadeirydd.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is an application in Pentrechaf, Dyffryn y Dydwy, to erect a bungalow, specially adapted bungalow, with a 2-storey dwelling. As you can see, the site has been denoted within the local area development plan for houses, and it is in the midst of other houses. So you see from the pictures, looking from in both directions on the site, it has been split into 2 with a pathway that runs through the middle. The site, as you can see, has been set aside for 10 houses, but at the moment where the bracken is there, you can see it in the picture, there are some protected species there. And following a discussion with Natural Resources Wales, they didn't want that area of land to be developed. The site on this green part here is the other side of the bracken. So 2 houses, 1 quite large built house with over 6 bedrooms, and then 1 bungalow which is specially developed. The case has been presented following the need that Adra and Cyngor Gwynedd have declared for the area, and we've been having discussions with Adra over the past year. The design is acceptable and fits in what's around it. So 1, 6 and 30 are the most relevant policies here. And as I said, the site has been allocated for housing within the proposed development in Dyffryn Nantllydwy. As you can see from the plans, they are quite large in size, but they have been designed to accommodate for families identified as being in need by the Housing Association. The largest house, not the bungalow, that could be split into two separate houses if the family who have been allocated is willing, if they moved out. So we could have 3 house properties there in the future. As you can see, there have been objections by Dyffryn Nantllydwy and Talbot Community Council on existing residents and not enough information about the plans, and that the development will reduce the number of houses the applicants have declared that they were going to build on this site, as well as being a shortage of parking spaces on site. The highways are satisfied that there are sufficient parking spaces. The agent has reacted to those, and we have discussed further with the county council, but they still object. But they can't see that there would be this is on a site which could hold up to 10 affordable dwellings. It's possible in the future that it can be used further. We have told the Housing Association that they couldn't develop on the whole of the land because of the objections raised by Natural Resources Wales and the protected species. As you can see here, there are pathways and it's close to the village. Apologies, it isn't shown in the plan, but the Section 106 agreement will need to be in place if members agree to this application today, since it is responding to the need for affordable housing in the area. We have been in discussions with the agent and with the applicants, and they are satisfied and they are willing to commit to a Section 106 agreement. We'll need to ensure that the house, which has been specially developed and will continue to be a house for families in need in the area, and that the large house continues to be a house for families in need of housing. So our recommendation is to grant the permission subject to the applicant entering into the 106 agreement, so ensure that the houses continue to be affordable housing as they are in the design, shown in design. And there is a speaker as well. Thank you. Elliw Owen, you have 3 minutes. Thank you. Welcome, Elliw. Do you want to Thank you for the opportunity to speak before you today regarding our application to build 2 affordable properties on a piece of land near Pentrechaf, Dyffryn Nantllydwy. This proposal is development. Can you hear me now? Yes. Thank you for the opportunity to speak before you today regarding our application to build 2 affordable properties on a piece of land near Pentrechaf. This proposal is development to raise specific needs for 2 affordable properties. As an association, we received a request from Gwynedd Housing Options team and occupational therapists to address the needs of 2 families, as there are no existing properties that address their needs, no properties that can be suitably converted. Without going into personal matters, the roots of both families are tight in Dyffryn Nantllydwy, and the approval of this plan will change the lives of the families for the better. The dormer bungalow has been designed for a large family, including family members who are wheelchair users. Special equipment, including a special bath and a hoist, which will be installed to facilitate the residents' lives. The house will also contain 6 bedrooms for a specific large family, but this property, following further consent, have the capability of being converted into 2 3-bedroom properties in the future should the needs of the residents change. There is still plenty of need for 3-bedroom houses in the area, with a waiting list consisting of 28 families looking for such a property. As an association, we have provided a number of these special units, but not so far down in the southern end of the county and in this specific area. We are comfortable that the need for these special units exists across Gwynedd National Park, and having the opportunity to build these will strengthen our housing stock for special affordable houses. We are aware that local residents are concerned about the plan, but over the last few months, we have worked together with the park's planning officers so that we have a plan that will not have a detrimental effect on the nearby residents or the protected species that have settled near the site. The land has already been in the consultation process under the supervision of the park and has been designated within development plan for affordable housing. There is an opportunity here to realise the aim of the park and ADRA in providing affordable houses for local families. As part of the plan, there will be opportunity to protect biodiversity and create a soft landscape where ensure the development will not have too much impact on local environment. All the homes will meet development requirements of the Welsh Government and will be lifelong homes and will be heated by PVs and air source heat pumps, which will ensure that the homes are energy efficient. We would be very grateful if the committee could approve this application to provide these 2 special properties in Dyffryn Dydwy. Thank you very much. Thank you, Elliw. Would anyone like to make a comment or proposal? Can I come in on one matter? In that presentation, I asked Aled who owned the site. Was it Gwynedd or Adra? And we don't have the information at the moment. But if Gwynedd owned the land, I think Elliw is Adra. Adra is can Elliw confirm this? Adra owned the land. Okay, thank you. Would anyone like to propose anything or make a comment? And one has a hand up here. And then Joe. I'd like to propose that we accept the recommendation and grant the application. These young families have children with special needs, and moving into these houses would make their lives much easier than they are today. So I'd like to support this application. Would anyone like to second that? There are 3 who have seconded the proposal. Joe, do you want to speak?
I was only going to support the application and second that. It's really refreshing to see this coming through, and retaining the affordable housing is a breath of fresh air. So thank you.
Iawn, diolch yn fawr.
Thank you.
Brian have a question.
Brian has a question here.
2 elements, but they're related. Sorry, this is getting feedback. As I understand it, originally in the allocation of the site, there were 10 dwellings proposed for this site. Here we're talking about 2, maybe 3. We're not given any indication of the positioning of the properties on the site and whether there is more capacity on the site for further development in the future. But my concern is that potentially we're stymieing 7 units, if we pass this, that could be used on this site to meet the wider need that we're talking about. That's not going to have a problem with the application and the need for the types of property that are there. But the question is, what are the implications if we pass this for the other 7 properties that are not now got a site allocated for them?
Mr. Kerry, Mr Cadeirydd, fel nes i ddangos.
Mr Chair, as I showed in the presentation, the site has been split into two with the pathway. So there's one side where the bracken is. We can't develop there at the moment. It's possible there could possibly be five there in the future. Where the present site is, I think it would be difficult because of the size of the houses to place any further houses either side of the houses. Yeah, we are losing three potentially here. Thank you.
Edgar.
Just wanted to say that it shows, but it is possible to build houses in the report. Yes, the ADRA will make sure of that. You can bet your life on it. Does anybody like to say anything? If not, we'll go to a vote. Everyone in favour? Green tick or raise your hand. Oh, it has been carried.
Permitted, thank you very much. On to land adjoining Penrhylfa, erection of 20 affordable housing by Cynefin. Thank you, Chairman. This is an application to erect 20 affordable housing and the associated infrastructure. The site is, as you come into Harlech, as you travel from the north, on the left-hand side. The site is opposite the canal site, and the site has been allocated for housing for quite a long time now. As you can see, this is the setting in relation to T Canal, which are opposite. The housing is further into the site, which allows for landscaping, which has less of an effect on the character. This is a photo from the direction looking from the south towards the north, and within the site looking out towards the present housing in T Canal, Harlech. The design, we've been in discussions with the agents. We've been discussing with them for quite a long time. They submitted a pre-application advice request over a year ago, and minor amendments have already been made in order to incorporate those amendments, including the landscaping plan. As you can see, this is a 3D photo. We do feel that they fit in well as officers, and with the housing surrounding the development. This shows the landscaping, tree planting, and bat boxes and housing for bird boxes as well. So this is considered against policies A, G, and development policies 1, 6, and 30. It has been earmarked in the ELDP for affordable housing in this area in Harlech, and so the principle is acceptable. The applicant has already agreed to enter into Section 106 agreement to ensure that the housing are and remain affordable. So from the 20 houses, it goes 4 apartments, 2 bungalows, and 14 houses, and they've been in accordance with the design quality requirements and lifetime homes standards for the future set by the Welsh Assembly. The layout takes into account the semi-rural character on the edge of Harlech, with a lower density at the edge of the site and open aspects. As you can see from the design and plans, it's located opposite T Canal, which is quite a big estate, Penrhylfa, and Penrhwylfa Estate as well, to the south, and Pantareithyn to the south as well. The submitted design would respect the amenities enjoyed by the occupiers and neighbouring properties. With regard to access, there would be a requirement for new access onto the 496, but the visibility is of a good standard, and no objections have been received from highways, and the access would provide suitable access for walkers as well, pedestrians, that is. Flooding, the application site lies within zone 3 and 2, as noted in TAN 15. An assessment of flood consequences was submitted to assess the risk, and the assessment has demonstrated that there are no flood consequences because of the levels of the housing, and the application includes an area where water can actually collect in the future as part of the design. And so an area has been allocated to ensure that rainwater is dealt with if there was heavy rain. The plan has demonstrated biodiversity enhancement, including the installation of bat and bird boxes. This plan just shows you the potential flood compensation area if the applicant declares that that would be required in order to deal with flooding in the future, possibly. Obviously, with the application, we need to consider the effect of on the Welsh language, and this has been taken into consideration and assessed. However, the Welsh language is a key material consideration, and therefore the implication of the proposal for the language of the local Welsh community must be considered when assessing this application. In this case, it shows that it is unlikely that there will be an impact, as the proposal is modest in relation to the size of the residential population. The statement accompanying the application states that they're going to use Welsh names and Welsh signage on the site, and that has also been conditioned in the list of conditions associated. The plan is likely to be beneficial because it would provide affordable housing that would be suitable for use by a wide range of local residents with a mix of sizes, etc. So we do fear that the proposal is acceptable. It's been allocated for affordable housing, and all of the housing is affordable. And obviously the proposal, if it would be permitted, would contributed a lot towards affordable housing needs in the settlement, which has been proven. The design, setting and responses from the consultees and the wide consultation that's been undertaken, we believe that the application is in accordance with our current policies, and so the recommendation is to grant permission subject to the applicant entering into a 106 agreement under the Town and Country Planning Act for the future, to ensure that they're affordable for the future. We do have a speaker, James Bradshaw. James Bradshaw. Welcome, Mr. Bradshaw. You have 3 minutes.
For our chair and committee members, you'll see that your officers are supportive of this scheme after detailed consideration of all issues. As such, I'll focus on what appear to me to be the key matters. Firstly, this proposal is for use of an allocated site to provide an entirely affordable development. This exceeds the required 33% affordable housing provision by a considerable amount, providing 20 affordable homes rather than the 7.3 sought by policy. The proposed mix of homes has been carefully chosen to respond to local needs, as is confirmed by the support of the housing unit. Indeed, figures provided in the application show that the housing register locally includes 156 households, which is an exceptionally high level of need. Homes will then be allocated to meet that local need in line with the local authority's common housing allocation policy. I note that there's concern locally about the capacity of the sewers. and I can confirm that the applicants and Dur Cymru are undertaking a review of the capacity of the local system and that any required upgrades will be agreed and undertaken as part of the scheme. Would ensure that the scheme is properly served and would likely resolve existing issues locally as well. You'll note that Dur Cymru are entirely satisfied with this approach and that a condition is set out requiring that any upgrades are agreed before any work takes place and that they're then carried out per the detail agreed. For flood risk, it must be noted that the current national flooding policy shows that the site is flood free, but for the draft national flood policy, the site is at a higher risk. As it stands, the relevant policy is the current one rather than the draft, so you need only take account of that document. However, the scheme includes steps to address the risk of flooding, with the ground floors of the properties set so that they'll be flood free, the road height set so that there's access in a flood event, and steps set out to ensure that the risk would not be increased elsewhere. This has ensured that Natural Resources Wales has accepted the scheme as satisfactory and safe under the new policy and the current, as have your officers. You also note that the scheme has been carefully designed to ensure that it's attractive and high quality, so that it provides a safe entrance onto the road along with good pedestrian links. Steps have also been taken to ensure that the ecology impacts are minimised, mitigated, and the overall value of the site is enhanced. And this has ensured that the scheme has been accepted by your planning officers, as well as internal and external consultees. It's also worth considering that if this site cannot be developed, that there are no other allocated sites within Harlech and no open land that can be developed to provide a scheme of this scale. So if this site cannot be brought forward, then the housing needs of the town cannot be met, which is a key material consideration in itself. All in all, the proposal before you entirely complies with the LDP. It's fully supported by your officers after detailed consideration, and there's no sound basis for departing from their professional considered advice, especially so as it will be for entirely affordable housing, which will make a considerable local contribution to meeting the housing crisis. It's therefore respectfully requested that you support this application in line with the officer's advice.
Iawn, diolch yn fawr iawn, Mr Bradshaw.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bradshaw.
Oes there rywun isio cynnig?
Does anybody want to make a proposal or make any comments? Anwen has her hand up. Anwen? As the local member for Harlech, supporting this application 100% and recommend that we go along with the proposal and permit the application because there is a real need for this type of housing in Harlech. And I'd be glad to see this type of development come to fruition. Do we have a seconder for the proposal? Meryl has seconded that. Does anybody else want to speak? Edgar. I just wanted to draw attention. I'm in favour of the application and the proposal. Consultation with Harlech, they support it in principle. What does that mean? Are they for or against? And some members of the community council object because there is pressure on sewage and water. But the consultees have confirmed that there isn't, that it's suitable. But was it a majority in Harlech that were objecting or not? Of course, they can write in to us. It doesn't just help the matters really when you see that type of thing on the agenda. Those were the comments that we received. And like the agent said, and as stated in the report, some people felt that there may be problems with sewage, but that's been addressed and discussed with Dur Cymru, and we'll ask for more information in order to ensure that there isn't additional pressure, and Dur Cymru Welsh Water are happy with the development. And when the community council do discuss things, we don't have all of the content of the discussion. Thank you very much. I can't see anybody else's hand up. Brian has put his hand up. Thanks, Brian.
Thank you very much, Chair. Yes, I'd support the application, but I have one question regarding the roads and amenity areas. Are we assured that those are going to be adopted by the local authority in terms of their ongoing maintenance? With the significant amenity areas, if there isn't an ongoing plan for the maintenance of those, it could become a bit difficult.
So ni feddwl, mi fysa'r ymgeisydd eisiau'r ffyrdd gael i mabwysiadau
And that the applicant would want the roads to be adopted by the Highways Authority. And there are more requirements. They have obviously been designed so that they are in accordance with the requirements of highways, and the hope is that they would be adopted.
Diolch yn fawr.
And that would apply to the amenity areas as well.
Iawn, Brian?
Okay, Brian,
Thank you.
Swn arall yn siarad.
does anybody else want to speak?
Os nag oes, awn ni bleidlais.
If not, we'll take it to the vote. Everybody in favour of the proposal? Can we have a show of hands, please? Motion carried.
Swn i'n erbyn beth bynnag.
Is anybody against?
Da ni-
No.
Iawn, hwnna wedi ganiatáu.
Okay,
Ydyn ni o'r cynllunio.
application permitted. So on to item 5, planning enforcement cases. Jonathan. Yes, thanks, Chairman. This is a proposal to change the arrangements, how we actually present the enforcement cases. I just felt that the system before didn't quite work. We brought the whole list before you as a planning committee without much detail in relation to them, and without all of the officers being present here in every meeting as well. But I just felt that the discussion wasn't always as good as it could be, and the frustration was felt among officers and members. So we just proposed making an amendment rather than bringing the long list in front of the committee. I was thinking perhaps we could do it every year, every financial year, every first meeting after April, that is in June. But possibly because there's quite a lot of time to wait until next June, we could bring in an interim report on these cases in December, maybe. The intention is to bring the enforcement or compliance cases at least twice a year, with the next one happening in December. They are not cases that need decisions from the committee. They are delegated, so you don't need to make decisions in relation to these. But I do accept that it is useful information for you to see. And so that's why we thought it would be better for it to have it more occasionally. There's nothing to stop you from seeing the list at any time and have any discussions with the relevant officers. And you have the perfect right to do that at any time. And as you can see from the report, for information, I got in touch with the other county councils in North Wales to see how they present the information, and nobody else brings the full list to committee. We're the only authority that does that. So we just wanted to release some capacity and to have more targeted discussions. I thought this would improve the information available on compliance. So that's the proposal, really, that we actually do that if you're in agreement with it. Okay, thank you. Does anybody want to make any question or comments?
Dwi'n gweld. Neb? Felly, sa rhywun yn cynnig bod ni'n-
I can't see any hands. Does anybody propose that we accept the report?
Ni, diolch yn fawr. Pawb i ddangos o blaid, os gwelwch chi dda.
Everybody in agreement?
Iawn, diolch yn fawr iawn. Awn ni ymlaen i'r cytundebau adran cant.
On to the 106 agreement for information,
Dalen 78.
page 78.
Cwestiwn yn fan'na?
Does anybody have any questions?
Dalen 79.
Page 79,
Ac 80.
80.
Dydy am i wan. Ia. Isiadau na phenderfynwyd arnynt ydi rhaid.
So these are the outstanding applications for information. Again, does anybody have any comments or questions? Page 82, 81 first, 82, 83,
Ac 80.
and 84. Tim has his hand up in relation to page 84. Are we waiting for comments from NRW? Out of interest, is that situation carrying on with at the same level, improving or getting worse? What's happening?
Gais penodol fan hyn.
Are you talking about a specific application here?
O ia, ocê.
Are they consistently the same? Well, I'm not sure what's happening with the landscaping at the moment. I don't know the exact answer. I haven't heard any concerns that there are delays. There have been long discussions and there have been requirements for reassessments. Landscape assessments can take a long time because of the elements of going out and taking photos. But I think the service that we're receiving is fine. I think we've asked for more time for response, but we still get a response. So it's not a major barrier. No, not really. Okay, I'm happy with that. Any further comments, anybody? Dilwyn also has his hand up. Thank you. Just one question on page 84. Does that mean that the application will be approved as long as the applicant agrees to the 106 agreement? Yes, okay, right, okay. And Wen also has her hand up, and Louise as well. I just wanted to know what the update is. The first one on 84, Tinagwter Harlech. What's the update on that? We're still awaiting a flood consequences assessment. I've been in touch with agents once. I'll have to give them specific time now because the applicant is still waiting. But it remains with the agent. I'll pursue them again today. Well, in Penarhwylfa, this site is more or less next door, and people will ask why that's been permitted, etc. Without the flood consequences assessment, we can't do anything. You'll pursue that. Yes, thank you. Louise?
Ti ar y fyd, Louise?
Louise, you're on mute.
Mute.
Yeah.
Yeah, diolch Cadeirydd. Page 82, second from the bottom, installation of a 20-metre high lattice tower. Any update on that? It says it's out for reconsultation. At all?
Ar y dalen ma hwnna.
Which page are you referring to?
82, reconsultation, land at Ffrīd Bryncoch, Llanegfyn.
All right, okay.
Dwi'n meddwl bod na Sophie Berry sydd wedi bod yn gweithio
I think Sophie Berry's the one who's been working on this consultant. I'll look into it and I'll provide an update. I know with a lot of her applications, she's awaiting a response from others.
Iawn.
Iawn, diolch yn iawn.
Okay, thank you very much.
Pwy arall o cwestiwn?
Does anybody else have a question?
Rwy'n ymlaen i
If not, We'll move on to delegated decisions, page 85 in the English. These are applications that have been approved for information. Page 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, and we're on to the applications that have been refused on page 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, and 96 over the page. And that's for information. And the appeal decision has been included here, which is very interesting if you've read this. They've tried every which way to get this dilapidated building into use, but that's the result there. And that's the conclusion of the planning committee today. Thank you very much. We have a members working group now. It's now 11 o'clock. There is a new link for you to use for the working group meeting. If we could break for 20 minutes and reconvene at 11:20. Thank you very much.